Hello everyone, and welcome back to another LEGO Digital Designer build video. We are back with part 2 of our Geist build. Just still working on the wing right here. And I really think these wings are where the build really starts to, at least from a silhouette standpoint, come together and look actually like the ship in universe. So they're a very important aspect of the ship's design, and without them, as you can see, it kind of looks just like a big giant cucumber. Not even that, it just looks kind of weird without these, and we won't really connect them to the model itself for a while, but even just putting them there and having them there helps with the look a lot. And I think we're just gonna, I used the models in the recent Star Wars Battlefront games as the primary reference for these, just because they are the thing about this ship is that everyone's kind of unique in universe, and all of the models that they used for the film and everything have slight differences. So the nice thing about the Battlefront games is that they all use the same one, more or less, and they look really nice and have some really good view. You're able to get some really good views in that game, so they're really good models to base this off of. And we're just adding right here some of the bumps on the side of the wing before I build up the structure itself, because those are important and will be incorporated pretty heavily into the wing, so I want to make sure that they're there. And the little gap in this one was bugging me a lot, so I just reworked it to get rid of that. So yeah, and I think, yeah, just getting rid of that little gap. And then I have to apologize before we get through the rest of the video. It's like almost 4 a.m. Here right now. I've been sick a little bit this week, so I'm sorry if my voice sounds a little weird. I'm just trying to get caught back up with recording stuff. And I've had a lot of coffee, and I do not do well with caffeine, so I'm even starting to get a little woozy every once in a while. So I apologize in advance if it's a little off. Yeah, I think just for the next little bit we're going to be trying various ways to build up this wing and incorporate spaces, at least for all the bumps, as best we can, just because there's no point in building up the wing and putting all those bricks in there when I'm just going to have to delete them all anyway, because all of these, I don't know, feels weird to just call them bumps, but really that's all they are. Just like little extrusions that were added on the models to make them interesting. Well, they were being designed for the movie. But yeah, they're pretty important to the overall look of the final model, so no point in building everything up and not including them. Obviously, not doing that with the main body, because I would very much like to, with how interesting that section of it is. I definitely want to get my bearings first and see how that's going to pan out before I start adding all the little details. But here on the wing, it's not as big of a deal. And I am ignoring the bottom right now, because I guess configuration for the bumps is different on the top and the bottom of the wings. And so for right now, I really just wanted to get the silhouette of the whole thing in there, just to make the model feel a little bit more correct. So we're just going to ignore the bottom section of the wing for now and leave it pretty flat and go in and refill that later when it's more necessary. And I think I play a lot with the way that I build this up, just to get the spacing right for all what I need to do for the bumps on the top and make sure that they're all connected accurately. yeah, so it's just a lot of little detail work, a lot of reconfiguring, and trying to get it all looking right, trial and error, that sort of thing. Especially with all that little spacing like that. Just for, what's the word? Stability's sake. Yeah, so anyway, I think Alphabet Squadron, the newest Star Wars book, as of the time of this recording, came out almost exactly a month ago. And I haven't read it myself. I've read some spoiler reviews, so I'm not going to say anything, but Hera is pretty prominently featured. She is, I don't think it's too spoilery to say, she's in a different ship than the Geist. So it will be, hopefully maybe we can one day find out what happened with all of that and her adventures with this ship and everything. But for now, it's nice to see her, because this is the latest in the timeline we've actually seen her in the Star Wars canon so far, and it takes place just after episode 6, yes, during Operation Cinder, if you know what that is. Just a kind of plan from the Emperor after he died to be implemented to basically destroy everything. So it revolved mostly around that, and Hera's featured pretty prominently as a character in the book, kind of leading the New Republic's efforts in that specific sector. So yeah, we got most of the wing done. I'm kind of leaving the part where it connects to the main body of the ship open right now and not really doing anything there because I'm not quite sure how I'm going to connect it. And actually, it ends up working out very well, where I'm able to just put some studs right through these little gaps in the middle right here. Not like I'm doing right now. It'll end up being pretty different. But it is spaced like very nicely, and is a lot less trouble than I thought it was going to be to do that. But I'm pretty sure for now, rather than... Oh wait, no, maybe I just attach it right there, yeah. Or try to, at least. LDD can be a little bit of a pain when it comes to this sort of thing. And just attaching large sections, it really doesn't like it. And even with just the wing on the one side, I think it's already starting to look a lot more accurate and just have a nicer silhouette. Yeah, so anyway, I would really love to see more of Hera's adventures throughout, I guess, the Galactic Civil War, because so far we know she was on Hoth, at least up to when the probe droid landed. So we know she was likely at the battle, we just didn't see her. And we know she fought at Endor in the Ghost. That's about it. So I'm really hoping we see more of her, because she's a really great character, and I love how much they've been doing with her already. So yeah, that would be nice. And this little section right here is a bit of a pain. Just trying to line that all up, because it's not a very, what's the word? Sorry, like I said, it's like 4 a.m. and I'm too tired to think words right now. I'm really just running on caffeine. What was I trying to say? Forget it. So yeah, I ended up ditching that whole thing that I was doing right there and just attaching I just don't know what to call them, the bump, I guess, right there to the actual main hull, and I'll just fill in the bottom section right there and any gaps as best I can, because this is really the best way to do it, to cover up most everything. It still looks pretty nice. And again, I didn't really get all of the little details in here as best I could, because like I said, every ship like this is pretty different to another. And even though I tried my best to base it on reference models and everything, I wasn't quite able to get every little bump and everything exactly how I wanted it to be. So really just kind of went with what looked best. And yeah, I'm just covering that all up, making it look nice right now. Let's see. Yeah, these transition sections killed me. They're so annoying. Just a lot of trial and error, just to see what looks right and what actually fits. And again, one of the annoying things about LDD is that certain bricks that should fit together, or not fit together, but should fit in a space, don't always fit in that space just because of the way their hitboxes in the program work. So certain things that would work with physical bricks just don't work here. And I did decide just to go ahead and paint the whole thing gray. And we will go through and like actually paint it and make everything look nice later. But for now, I was kind of getting sick of looking at all that red, especially because that's not what the color of the actual thing is. So I think the gray helps a little bit. Yeah, it's just putting the wing on the other side. I had something to say. I can't remember what it was. I've already lost it. So yeah. Just a lot of this is really just trying to fit things together, not necessarily designing new sections. Unfortunately, I mean, not unfortunately, it's kind of a necessary thing, but it's not always the most interesting thing to watch. But like I said, it's necessary. But I think you can see right here just how much those wings help with the silhouette. Even already, it's kind of starting to come together just with those, especially with how I've added the details onto them. I think that's really what helps the most, is all those little bumps that have already been added. And right now the wings are symmetrical. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, they're symmetrical right now. That's not going to be that's not going to be the case in the end, because they aren't symmetrical in the real models at all. Like nothing about, other than the base shape, nothing about the ship is ever symmetrical. So I kind of just left it that way for now. Like I said before, like for the silhouette aspect, and just because I liked looking at it better than I liked looking at a blank area. So yeah, I think we're going back to the main section right now. I'm trying to, something about this little thing right here just wasn't lining up like it should have. I don't remember exactly why, but I think I'm just fixing it right now before we can really go forward with a lot of other stuff. Yeah, it'd be really nice. Hopefully, eventually I'm able to build this model physically, because I end up really liking it in the end. I've always wanted to build a Calamari cruiser, because I just think they look so nice. I've just always been so intimidated, so I finally just said, you know what, screw it. It's gonna be difficult no matter when I do it, so might as well start now. Yeah, we're just mirroring a lot of the transition stuff I did earlier right now, and getting into that. And I want to say we'll start building up the back section after this, hopefully, because I think that ended up looking really cool. It took a lot of trial and error, especially that section, but I think it ended up looking great. Yeah, here you can see LDD isn't always super cooperative with connecting large sections of pieces, especially because there's always that one piece that just, it should fit together, but it doesn't because of some hitbox issue or something, so you have to go through and figure out what the problem is and why they're not all fitting together before the whole thing can, yeah, it's a pain sometimes. Here, yeah, we're starting the back section now, and a lot of the back section, again, this is one of those places where it's not necessarily 100% accurate, but to make it 100% accurate is way more trouble than it's worth, and it's better to just make it look good. So this back section is a little hard to nail down because the main supports that I've had to set up this whole base of this model aren't really compatible with the back because you just saw me delete that whole underside just because that's how the model is in the universe. So I'm just trying to get that shaping right now before we handle all the connecting and everything, all the technical stuff. Yeah, I would actually really love to see the Lego company take on a Calamari cruiser someday, just as obviously it will be much smaller and so much less in the way of pieces. But we don't have enough capital ships, I think, especially Rebel capital ships. I think pretty much all we've gotten is the Corellian Corvette, specifically Tantive 4, or I'm sure people pronounce it differently. That's how I pronounce it, and I know it's probably wrong. And we've gotten Phoenix, what's it called? Phoenix Home, the Pelta class frigate from Rebels, and I'm pretty sure that's all we've gotten in the way of Rebel capital ships. But I was very happy to get Phoenix Home because I've actually built my own version of that model like as soon as I saw the trailer, just because I loved the colors on it so much. And I wasn't like, the Pelta class frigate in the Clone Wars is nice, but I was never in love with it until I saw it in the colors it uses in Rebels, and then I fell in love and I had to build it. So I finished that like months before it actually was in the series because the episode hadn't aired yet, just because I loved it so much. So even though the set itself didn't necessarily live up to expectations, it was still nice to get it. It's something. So I'd love to see them take on a Calamari cruiser someday. I don't know if it's going to happen, just because they are so complicated and don't really work well with Lego. They can, obviously, since I'm building one, but Lego has very different guidelines and standards they have to follow. And they have to make sure, at the end of the day, it's a toy, and it has to be something that kids have fun playing with and building, and that's sturdy enough for kids to have fun playing with and building. So I don't know if it will happen. I would love to see it. Maybe someday. We'll see. And yeah, so I'm pretty sure I end up completely undoing this whole section right here, because I'm trying to emulate the front part right now, just because that's how I did that in transition before. But I actually end up using, I didn't like how it ended up looking, so I was looking through, we'll see it in a minute, but I was looking through the part catalog and found this really nice piece that worked perfectly, specifically for this section right here. So sorry, all this stuff you're seeing right here isn't going to end up being in the model, so, that's how it works, sometimes. Yeah, and if Lego were ever to do a Calamari cruiser, it would almost definitely be Home 1. So it wouldn't be this Liberty winged class, understandably, since Home 1 is, the Calamari cruiser as far as most fans are concerned. Or most people really, it's absolutely the most popular one. Oh yeah, here I am. Just going through the part catalog because I wasn't liking how that was looking and trying to find some other ways to do it. Try a few different ways. There we go, that's the part I ended up using. Right there. And I think I'm so glad it exists because it made my life so much easier. It was a little bit of a pain to get it connected on there just because it is upside down. And everything else on the model is either right side up or sideways. And just, yeah, see, if I know it's hard to see because I'm moving the camera a lot, but there's a little gap between the right side up wedges on top and this piece. And I don't know if it ever, I'm pretty sure I end up fixing the gap just because I had to make it all work with the parts under it as well. But yeah, I'm very happy with how this back section turned out. Even if it's not the most accurate part of the ship, I think it looks nice. Oh, I completely forgot what I was talking about earlier. Oh well. Sorry, I know I'm a bit of a mess right now. I understand. It's fine though. This is what I get for being sick. Yeah, and I do wish that there had been a way for me to, it's, you know, it'll be much more clear what I'm talking about when I actually add the final colors, but on the side, those little 1x1 plates in the side paneling, I don't know how to describe that. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. But I end up using those, I put those like that to use them as windows in the final colors. And I do wish there had been a way to kind of build that up more, because just for stability I had to add a 1x8 plate on the top and a 1x8 tile on the top and a 1x8 plate on the bottom, and you know, all the connections in the middle. So it was hard to really find places to put those window pieces while still keeping the whole model, what's the word? I just forgot. I just used it. Stable. The whole model stable. So that is the one thing I would probably change with the final model if I could, but I really don't think there's much of a way to do anything about that while keeping the whole model stable. So, you know, it's one of those things. It looks alright. Like, it's really not a big deal. Now, maybe I never ended up fixing that gap. I mean, it's really not noticeable, so it's really not a big deal. And yeah, all these transitions are so hard. I'm pretty sure I leave most of them till the end, just kind of do what I can in the middle, just because I don't want to deal with it a lot of the times. Yeah, but I just trying to get this flat section right here, because the engines will end up jutting out into this whole section, so I wanted to make sure it was nice and smooth for them. That was kind of nice too, because you don't really have to transition right there, just put the engines. But anyway, there you have it. That was part 2. I hope you enjoyed. Feel free to leave a like, feel free to subscribe, and hopefully you're looking forward to part 3. Have a good one.